What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, well, we need to have a little bit of a look now, don't we? Because there's a new secret rare. We have been waiting for the secret rares to go and be revealed from BT10, and we don't have both of them today, but we do have one of them, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and tell you that this is not the one that I expected, and I'm also willing to bet it's not the one that you expected. It's Shoutmon. Level 4 Shoutmon. I cannot be the only one that is a little bit perplexed, a little bit confused, a little bit, phrase it how you will, that we are getting a level 4 secret rare. That's weird, ladies and gentlemen. That's very, very weird. Okay, with all of that borne in mind, what have we actually got? Translations here, I should mention, from the lovely TCG review. Also, I suppose I should mention right at the outset here, yes, we have seen a level 4 secret rare before. It was way back in VT1, it was Digimon. More recently, they've been going for bigger, badder Digimon being the secret rares. Well, apparently, Shoutmon is just that gosh darned important. But we do have a new Digitama, so we should probably look at that just a little bit first. It's Puchimeramon here, and I love the artwork, incidentally. And what we've got is an inheritable skill, like we see on all level 2s. On your turn, while this Digimon has any colour card other than red in its Digivolution sources, gain 1,000 power. And look, gaining 1,000 power isn't some big impressive thing, it's standard. We know that Digitama can do other things, but I am telling you that gaining 1,000 power as a Digitama, that's pretty standard. It's not particularly big or exciting. It's one of those things that happens quite a lot. So, cool, I suppose, but it's not that great. If you're going for a dual-color Digimon, and we've seen a bunch of Shoutmon stuff already, you know, in this particular set, and there's a lot of dual color going on. We've seen those cross-heart Digimon in this set that let you evolve from any color of Digimon sometimes. So we know there's a lot you can do in terms of flicking this around, and that's lovely. If you're playing a dual color deck, this is clearly a very good Digitama. If not, there's going to be another one you can use. It's not a bad Digitama. It's not a particularly good Digitama. It really is as simple as, if you're playing a dual color deck, as in red and something else, and oftentimes dual-color Digimon or something you can flick between or else it's going to get kind of awkward, then yeah, this is a reliable way to make sure you get that extra 1,000 power. Otherwise, you're going to want to go with another Digitama. Good? Good. So let's move on and have a look at Shoutmon then, the first level 4 secret rare that we've seen in 9 sets. Is it worth it? Maybe. I should also mention it is Shoutmon King version, which is important to note. 5 cost to play normally, 2 cost to Digivolve, 4,000 power, which is honestly about right for a level 4. And this card and Digimon also count as Shoutmon, which is important for any skills that you might see that refer to Shoutmon, just to let you know that actually this will count. And we've seen a bunch of these, alright? We've seen that being Shoutmon can be pretty gosh darned important. So yay! Then when you play it, you may return a card with Digicross from your trash to your hand, and until the end of the turn, you may Digicross using this card as any one material. So generally speaking, when you're using this Digicross stuff, you are given specific Digimon that you have to use. So if we take Shoutmon X4, one we've seen already, you can Digicross with Shoutmon, Ballistamon, Dorurulmon, and Starmons. And if you actually Digicross with all of them, then you take 2 off the cost for every one, and it actually becomes a 1-cost card, which is kind of redonk. But you've got to have those exact 4 cards in order to make it work. It's a little bit awkward. Whereas here, you get this Digicross back from your trash, and it seems to be saying, you know, until the end of the next turn, you may Digicross using this card as any one material. It can count as a Starmons if you don't have a Starmons, etc. So it's not just that you get that card back so you can use it to Digicross, because honestly, getting the card back and having it available to Digicross is in and of itself a very cool thing to do. It is also the fact that you can then use it as any material, meaning that if you don't have quite the right material to lower the cost as much as you might like, well, now you kind of do. You're cheating a little bit. And the fact is, if you really need two specific Digimon but you can only find one, then this will count as the other. which means you're saving 2 memory, and that 2 memory might mean you can play a card without passing the turn to your opponent, which means you get 1 extra attack, and that could literally be the turning point in the game. Sure, there are going to be plenty of times where you just use this to get back the one you were going to use anyway, and it's not that impactful. But there are going to be times where this absolutely saves you. It saves you memory using Digicross, and it gives you those extra attacks you need to win the game. And in that situation, it's gonna be awesome. You've then got Material Save 1. That is to say that when this Digimon gets deleted, you can take any one of its inheritable skills and put it under one of your tamers to essentially save it. Remember, we've seen in this set the whole Digicross mechanic is that what you're basically doing is putting Digimon underneath your tamers so that you can then get them back later. We've got skills that will put them under tamers, we've got skills that will get them back. It's rather nice, quite frankly. It's kind of the way it all works. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, you can do this with Material Save 1 and life is good. Oh yeah, and then you've got Digicross -2. Any Digimon with Crossheart in its traits. And this is absolutely huge. Because like I've said, generally speaking, when we look at stuff like, what was the one I told you a second ago, Shoutmon X5, you need to have the specific Digimon to lower your cost when you play. But not here. It can be any Digimon, which firstly is really, really nice, because you don't have to go after the specific Digimon, that's lovely. But also, it's kind of huge in that you can save a Digimon. So you can use one that you don't want for another Digimon, so the one that you do want for another Digimon gets saved. It is absolutely brilliant, and I absolutely love it. And as if all of that wasn't enough, we've also got an inheritable skill. On your turn, if this Digimon has Shoutmon in its name, this Digimon gains 2,000 power. Because you're going to see Shoutmon X5 in just a second. But we've seen a whole bunch of cards that have Shoutmon in their name. We've seen Omni Shoutmon back in BT5. We've seen Shoutmon DX back in BT5. There are a bunch of different Shoutmon out there. So it makes a huge difference. The fact that it is a card with Shoutmon in its name, rather than a card called Shoutmon, it just means it's going to work for so many more Digimon, and this is awesome. It might be a level 4 secret rare, which we do not see very often, but when you combine the fact that it counts as Shoutmon, the fact that you can get any Digicross card back and then it counts as any material for the turn, and you got Material Save, and you can Digicross -2 with any Digimon. Remember, that means that you put it down as an inheritable skill, save 2 memory, so it's essentially a free cost to play normally, which is kind of huge. And you get one back, so it ends up being essentially a 1 cost to play, because you -2 when you play, but then you get a Digicross back from your trash, which you're going to use in a minute to do a -2, which essentially makes this a pseudo 1 cost, which is a bit nuts. And then you got that inheritable skill giving an extra 2,000 power. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is awesome. But I've shown you a bunch of Digimon here, including Shoutmon X5. I've not shown you Shoutmon X4B, so we should probably have a look at that one. 9 cost to play normally, free cost to Digivolve 9,000 power. This is high. Now, the free cost to Digivolve is fine, that's about standard for a level 5. But the 9 cost to play is high, but a 9,000 power is high. Plus, it is worth noting, as you can already see, it is a proper dual colour Digimon. It is both red and purple, and can Digivolve from both red and purple. And what we've got here is a bunch of stuff going on. It's got Armor Purge. Remember, that says you essentially trash the top card of this Digimon to keep the Digimon alive. So you get rid of Shoutmon X4B, not ideal, but then you get to keep whatever your level 4 was, which is not too bad. Plus, you've then got, when you play or Digivolve, you can put a Digimon card from your hand or beneath your tamer, with Crossheart in its traits under this Digimon as an evolution source. And then if this Digimon has Beelzebumon in its evolution sources, you may return 2 cards with Crossheart in its traits from your trash to your hand. Which, when you put all together, is a lot. Firstly, we've got, like I said, you're switching cards, putting them under your tamer, getting them back, this gets one back. If you then end up with Beelzebumon in your evolution sources, you get 2 Crossheart from your trash back to your hand. And like we were saying a minute ago with Shoutmon, this is brilliant. because it means that you can just cherry pick the one, and okay, fine, they don't count as anything like they do with Shoutmon, that's sad, etc. But you can cherry pick whichever ones you want, so you know that the next Digimon you play, the next Cross Digimon you play, is going to be cheaper because you're using Digicross to its full effect. This is awesome! I am a huge fan of this. Plus, you can Digicross -2 using Shoutmon X4 and Digimon, which is honestly kind of cool. And if you do it with both of them, then you bring it down to a 5-cost Digimon with Armor Purge that lets you put a Digimon from your tamer under it, and then grab 2 cards of Cross Heart back to your hand. And again, it's like we said a second ago, you're essentially playing this as a 5-cost. But you're then getting 2 cards back, each of which is going to save you 2 memory, so it is a 5-cost, let's be clear, but it ends up essentially over time being a pseudo 1-cost, which is brilliant. And if you combine this with stuff like your Shoutmon King version, what you end up with is just Digicross being used really well, because you're making sure you've always got either the right Digimon or Digimon that can be used as anything, so you're using Digicross a lot to constantly reduce the cost of paying Digimon, and oh my goodness, this looks awesome! There are lots and lots of fun things you can be playing around with here. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, for today, that will do it. And as always, I would love to hear from you guys. Do you think that Shoutmon King version is worthy of being a secret rare? I personally do. And do you think Shoutmon X4B looks awesome? Because I personally do. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.